This is News 12 This Morning. On your side.
No, Georgia Bulldog fans waking up through the roof this morning. Your team is heading to the national championship. And if you saw last night's Rose Bowl,
it was a measure of heart
you know it was a
attack.
tense
I
one.
would be on the Richter scale pretty high.
UGA head coach Kirby Smart there speaking the truth for many fans last night.
Also a tense game for the Clemson Tigers, but they could not quite pull it through. The Alabama Crimson Tide beat them in the Sugar Bowl. Bama now faces off against Georgia next Monday.
And we can't contain our excitement.
I'm telling you, it's been, the last few hours have just been, I don't even know how to, especially if you watch the game from start to finish. You're probably still just kind of recovering now.
Yes, even the Carolina game was close. Meteorologist Tim Strong, of course, watching that one. Tim, how you doing this morning?
I'm feeling much better. By the second half, it did a whole lot better. First half, just, everything just was ready to be broken. I think from the way that offense looked, and couldn't even buy a point or three. As we look outside, it's just cold, crisp air. Numbers tell you that. We're looking at wind chill advisories that are still in effect until 10 a.m. Jenkins, Screven, Allendale County. Well, look like an interesting scenario will be setting up for the coast. Tomorrow, there'll be some winter storm watches that go in effect from Wednesday morning to Wednesday evening, where the potential for maybe a few flakes to fly around are possible. It's cold enough to do just about anything wintry weather-wise. We've got a sky that's broken a little bit, but mainly clear and just very dry, cold air. 18 degrees, our official temperature at the airport. It ranges anywhere from 11 degrees to 23 across the entire viewing area. Morning commute, obviously, you've got a cold one getting out the door this morning. We'll warm up, about freezing at midday. And then up to the middle 30s. That's an incredible warm up, isn't it? 36 degrees coming in, mostly sunny. But yes, a little very interesting scenario setting up for the coastal areas of the Carolinas, Georgia, and even Florida going into Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. We'll talk details on that and a look ahead at the planner for cold air coming up shortly. Back to you.
Tim, thanks. But first, we are following breaking news from overnight. Crews still on the scene of a house fire in Aiken.
Yeah, it happened around 3:30 this morning on Ward Circle near Citizens Park. News 12's Tiziana Onstad has been there all morning. Tiz, tell us what's happening now as you've seen this progress.
Well, what we know right now, what I've been seeing for the last 30 to 45 minutes or so, is that crews are investigating inside the house. They keep walking in and out. It's about 3 firefighters. Looks like one of them is the supervisor that I've been trying to get in contact with Aiken Department of Public Safety. And if anything, we're probably just looking around the house, making sure there's no more hot spurs. But this house fire has been out since about 5:30 this morning, so about an hour now. But it took them a good 2 hours to get it out to begin with, because it started around 3:20 is when dispatch says they got the call originally, and when I arrived to the scene at 4 o'clock, it was fully involved. When I was driving down East Pine Log Road, you could see the flames from that road, and we're in the back of a neighborhood, so that's how big the flames were. So as of right now, as we're waiting for Aiken Department of Public Safety to give us that update, what I've been seeing is just crews just going in and out. Looks like they're investigating, trying to figure out what's going on. But the best news of it all, as even though this house looks like a total loss, we do know that the man, his wife, and daughter that were inside, according to the neighbor, did get out safely and in time before the flames took over. But as soon as we get more information from the Aiken Department of Public Safety, we'll be sure to update you on this fire. For now, we're live. Tiziana Onstad on your side.
All right, thanks for that update, Tiz. Many Georgia fans waking up ecstatic this morning. Your team is heading to the national championship.
It's Michelle's turn, running all the way. Gets to the edge. Sonny Michelle will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
That play right there, clinching their spot. This, the first national championship trip in nearly 40 years.
Oh, it's been a long time. It is our time. If you watched last night's Rose Bowl, you know it was a stressful game. The Dogs pulling out on top after 2 overtimes.
So there's a meme that's circulating on social media. It's a picture of a T-shirt, and on the T-shirt, the words read, "Always be yourself, unless you're Sony Michel, then always be Sony Michel." So we have crews in Cali and Louisiana, and we've been following these games for you all weekend long.
Our Kevin Feigl was in the middle of the action at the Rose Bowl last night. Here's a breakdown of the best plays from Pasadena.
Well, this will go down as one of the greatest Rose Bowls ever, and they've been playing it for over 100 years. Back and forth, second half that eventually saw the Dogs come out on top, and now they get to play for a national title in their backyard. This game seemed to be over in the fourth quarter with Georgia in control, but then Baker Mayfield rallied the Sooners. Then Sony Michel fumbled it. OU picked it up for a touchdown and took the lead with a minute to play. But then Georgia responded. Off the deck, Jake Fromm leading the team down the field, and a Nick Chubb touchdown. We were headed to overtime. After both teams kicked field goals in the first overtime, Lorenzo Carter got a big hand on a field goal attempt in the second OT that kept the Sooners off the board, setting up Sony Michel for redemption. He fumbled in regulation, scored the game winner, and now Georgia is off to the title game.
We knew we wasn't really playing our style of defense in the first half, so we just had to come in. You know, we knew we was going to face some adversity throughout the game and just had to make those adjustments and then just come out and play with a little more passion.
It means a lot, you know. Georgia has been kind of down over the years, but finally getting a chance, opportunity to play in a bigger game, it definitely means a lot to our state.
Now it's back home for the Dogs already, and then they look forward to Alabama for the national title 1 week away at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That city might not be the same after the game. In Pasadena, I'm Kevin Feigl on your side.
I still can't get over this. I mean, it's all right. Not exactly the same sentiment for a lot of our local fans, though. The top-ranked Clemson Tigers fell to the Alabama Crimson Tide last night. The final score of the Sugar Bowl, 24-6.
I tell you what, our Brooke Zahner is in New Orleans this morning. She has a reaction from Dabo and his Tigers.
The Clemson-Alabama trilogy just ending in pure disappointment for the Tigers. The defending national champs walked off the field with their heads low, completely disappointed from that. Now at halftime, Clemson's head coach Dabo Swinney was saying the first half was probably about as bad as they could play, but that may have been an understatement. Alabama came in dominating from the start while Clemson's offense struggled to make big plays. The first quarter ended with a loss of 7 yards for Clemson's offense, while Alabama's offense gained 107 yards. Score at the half, Alabama 10, Clemson trailing by just one score at that point. But really what changed the game was the third quarter, when maybe one of the best Clemson drives of the game turned into an interception at the 37-yard line and ended in an Alabama touchdown. Now fast forward to next drive, Clemson gets the ball back, and a pick six by Mack Wilson ends in yet another touchdown for Alabama, leaving Clemson trailing by 19, scored 24-6. In the fourth quarter, Clemson's offense still couldn't make big plays. Final score, 24-6.
At the end of the day, just, you know, championship football is a game of a few plays. And especially when you're playing Alabama, Alabama's #1 scoring defense in the country for a reason. And, you know, you gotta make the critical plays, and we didn't do that. We did it last year. We didn't do it this year.
And, you know, it's hard, to play when you can't really get in a rhythm. You know, you coming off the field, after 3 and out. So, but like I said, really good defense. And so, we knew this game was going to be won in the trenches, on both sides. And so, couldn't really get it done.
If it was up to everybody else, we wouldn't even been in the college football playoff. We would have been 5-7. Just proud of all my teammates, the way everybody worked all year.
That disappointment you could feel in the locker room. A lot of those guys had their heads hanging low, some of them even near tears. But fast forward to next week at the national championships, that's going to be the Georgia Bulldogs facing Alabama's Crimson Tide. In New Orleans, Brooke Zahner on your side.
A lot of people reacting to last night's game. I mean, I'm not okay. I think a lot of people share that, and a lot of people sharing that on social media.
I mean, even if you didn't have a dog in the fight, Tim didn't have one in the fight, I didn't have one in the fight, and all of us were like, ah! Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend text me who said, this game is making me anxious.
Exactly.
And she didn't really care who won.
A lot of people are like, I don't even like football, but today it's different. So our Jason Raven joins us now with some of the Dogs' biggest supporters as they took on Pasadena.
Well, it was a great game. It was the first Rose Bowl to ever go into overtime, so it's safe to say this game had a lot of people talking. Even the Governor Nathan Deal, tweeted right after the game, congratulations to University of Georgia football winning the Rose Bowl. We look forward to welcoming you back to Atlanta for the national championship. #GoDogs, #College Football Playoff. And the man who scored the game-winning touchdown himself, Georgia tailback Sony Michel. Thank you, Dog Nation. That was amazing. See y'all in ATL and a nice little dog emoji right there. And PGA golfer and Bama grad Justin Thomas. He says, can't get over UGA Bama, gonna play for the national championship in Atlanta at that. And 2 SEC teams playing, gonna have a lot of people mad. But they sure just beat 2 good teams to be there. #just saying. And just in the absolutely incredible win and great matchup in store on Monday in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So everyone's in for a really great treat. Another great tweet I saw as well is a lot of people calling this, it's the national championship. It's 2 SEC teams in Atlanta. So it's like the SEC championship all over again.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Some of those reactions online also pretty hilarious, too. Look at this one. Live footage of some emotions there during the #Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and then there's this one. After Lorenzo Carter blocked that kick in the #Rose Bowl. Right, that was my face when that happened. A whole lot of faces when that happened.
That's phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
Tim.
Who doesn't like a good Chris Pratt face on those things? Man, incredible stuff here. Wind chill advisory, yeah, cold everywhere. We're down into the single digits. If you're wanting to get some exercise, just be careful. Maybe just hold off for a day or two. Let the temperatures get above freezing first. We're in the teens and low 20s. Skies are clear all the way through 9 o'clock. Wind chills are in the single digits. Outside, we're finding a brightening sky at this point, some high, thin clouds. 18, our official temperature now. The wind's still about 5 to 6 coming in from the northeast. It's just very dry, frigid temps, what we're expecting to stay with, a lot of them in the mornings. We'll eventually get out of these 30s and 40s a week from now. Something to look forward to there. But single-digit wind chills today. And then how about the big question mark of potential snow on the coast? Of course, why not have some snow somewhere in the south as cold as it is? That could be coming their way from the Georgia to the Carolina coast tomorrow morning and by lunchtime. Now nothing happening, just some scattered clouds overhead, temperatures teens, low 20s, breezy winds at times, bringing that wind chill way down there between 5 and 10 degrees this morning. And heading on into the afternoon, sunny and dry. We may see a few skies clouding up just a little bit more as we headed to about 8, 9 o'clock this evening, and then moving into a cloudy scenario. And yes, the potential for that wintry weather just kind of hugging the Carolina and Georgia coast by midday to 2 o'clock. That's where, again, it remains very, very interesting what could happen on the coast. 38 degrees for the high today with sunshine. The winds 5 to 10 out of the north. Still a chilly week ahead, even though temperatures are only in the 40s. We've got a breezy late week forecast Thursday, Friday. Lows in the 20s all the way up to the end of the weekend. And there's that 57 standing up out there. And next Monday with a chance of rain, just about 40%. 6:42 on the clock.
A Colorado deputy killed in a reported ambush is being remembered. How family and friends say they're finding comfort in it all.
Want to know a little more about that weekend? Well, temperatures probably in the 40s by then. We still continue to have some cold mornings. We'll check it out coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Tim, it is 6:43 on the clock. We've got a lot more still to get to. We hope your day's off to a great start so far. Stick around. Time now is 6:43 on this Tuesday. If you're just waking up with us, we're checking how traffic is moving now with one of our live eye cams, taking a live look now at downtown Augusta. And things are moving pretty smoothly out there. Not too much traffic-wise, but again, it is bitterly cold.
Yes, it is painful outside. You might want to Build a little more time into your drive to work this morning, though, on the Georgia side at least. Georgia DOT crews back at it this morning. They started their road projects back up at 5 o'clock this morning after taking a break for the holidays. In South Carolina, you've got a little more time. DOT road work resumes tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, when the temperatures really aren't going to be all that much better.
No, we won't even be above freezing at that time. We're going to be looking at still some 20s. We may get above freezing just about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Certainly not right now. 18 degrees, north wind 6. We're down feeling like 8 to 10 degrees with the wind chill values this morning. We still, again, look at an eventual warming trend taking place. But it next several days, it'll take at least until about Thursday to Friday to notice a little bit of a difference for the afternoons. The mornings are still expected to be very cold. We'll have some sunshine, maybe some scattered clouds heading into that Saturday, Sunday forecast. First weekend forecast here of 2018. 44 on Saturday, high temperatures around 48 degrees. And then we get into Monday, not shown. That's definitely expected to be a warm up and maybe a little rain coming back around here. We'll be in the upper 50s, it looks like, after that. 6:46 on the clock.
Breaking news overnight, a 3-car accident on Gordon Highway. It happened around 11:15 near the Tubman Home Road intersection. You can see some of the damage there to the vehicles. We were told 2 people had to be cut from one of those vehicles. Details are limited right now, but as soon as we know more, we will update you.
We're also working to get more information about a house fire in Aiken County. Dispatch confirming a fire broke out around 11:30 last night on Main Street. That is just behind the Jackson Police Department and the post office. It was reportedly called in with flames and smoke showing. Now, no word yet if anyone was hurt, anyone was home, but we are working to find out more.
Across the globe, the death toll continues to rise in Iranian protest. State television networks say 9 people were killed overnight.
Yesterday, a police officer was reportedly killed during a demonstration. Officials also reported at least a dozen people have been killed in the past 5 days. The protest started Thursday over food and gas prices.
Happening today, 3 former Washington County Sheriff's deputies go before a judge. Michael Howell, Henry Copeland, and Rhett Scott will enter a plea and find out if they'll be let out on bond. All 3 are charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, false imprisonment, and more.
The 3 are accused of using a stun gun on Yuri Martin until he died back in July. This video shows that reported incident. They were charged with Martin's death earlier this year. We will be in the courtroom for today's hearings. Download the News 12 app for the latest on what comes of it.
A Colorado sheriff's deputy killed in a reported ambush attack is being remembered. An emotional vigil was held for 29-year-old Zachary Parrish.
I'll do everything in my power, Zach Parrish, to honor you.
Parrish was shot and killed Sunday when investigators say Matthew Reel fired more than 100 rounds. He is survived by his wife and 2 young daughters. Those who knew him best say it brings them peace to know he died doing what he loved.
And I can tell you, without a doubt, that he wanted to serve his community. He always did it with respect.
Zach loved his job. He loved it every single day.
Meanwhile, investigators are learning more about the suspected shooter. They say Reel was an attorney and veteran who was very active on social media, even criticizing police shortly before the attack.
4 other officers, 2 bystanders also hit in the shooting. They are expected to be okay. Reel was shot and killed by police. It is 6:50 on the clock. In case you haven't heard, the Dogs are going to the national championship. They fought tooth and nail in last night's Rose Bowl.
No, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Brand new to me.
No, whatever. Y'all heard me screaming all the way from my living room. There were moments where some fans might have thought it was over, but they beat out Oklahoma 54-48 in double OT. I mean, that's like a basketball score. Seriously? Next, they take on Alabama. The Tide is 12-1. Just like the Dogs. The only loss for both teams, Auburn. That game is next Monday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It'll be crazy.
That game was bananas for sure. Well, the Clemson Tigers were hoping to get in on that game, but couldn't quite pull it out, especially after the Alabama Crimson Tide kicked it up into high gear in third quarter. They scored 2 touchdowns in just 13 seconds. The final there, 24-6. Dabo was hoping they'd pull it out when they came back from halftime. It just did not happen.
Well, we couldn't forget about the Gamecocks fans looking to hopefully win yesterday against Michigan. They did. Jake Bentley threw for 239 yards, most of that in the second half. To get out of that first half slump, they were down 19-3 late in the third quarter, came back to win 26-19, thankfully to pull out the 9th win of the season. How many non-Georgia fans really want Georgia to win this year?
I'm hoping a lot of them.
Because it just
people
seems
hate
like,
Alabama.
It just seems like Alabama. Well, there it is again. Alabama's in the finals.
Right.
I mean, how many more fans are Georgia going to have for this game than ever before?
We need every single one of them.
We shall see.
Who wants Nick Saban to win again?
No.
They're turning into the Yankees of the 90s.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And speaking of,
I
before
was
the
born
big
in Alabama, but you know, I'm from Tuscaloosa. You really need to know.
I love that, Tim. Before the big championship game in Atlanta, Alabama coach Nick Saban, yeah, he's going to need a little recovering. He got a little roughed up by one of his top players last night. Take a look.
I think that was Coach Saban who got run over on the Alabama sideline.
Ooh.
Oh, there it is right there. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you can
he
see
likes to
Alabama
smile a lot.
QB Jalen Hurts tried to stop himself. Oh, but Saban's attention was elsewhere.
He's okay, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He may have had a small chuckle about it, even though if you look real hard, I can't really tell.
Ooh.
That's it. Yeah, his chuckle is a frown.
That is his chuckle?
Yeah, his frown is a chuckle.
Oh, my goodness.
Jason Hurts. Somebody should have told him not to hurt him.
I don't know. A lot of people were not sorry to see that. I'm glad he's okay, but
We're back.
Well, there it is, the planner that just remains extremely cold. You know, it is winter, so it does tend to get cold during the winter season. So that's what we're definitely in right now. We're in the teens. Can I be more sarcastic about it?
This is the winter season?
It is winter. Started back in late December.
Okay.
We are in the upper 30s. We'll have maybe some snow on the coast. The beaches get the snow before we do.
I know, that makes no sense.
There's a little interesting situation going on through there tomorrow. We'll watch that, but otherwise, no here. Kids, if you had school, you'd be going.